Hi, I'm Judith, and I'm coming to you from hisunmeasuredgrace.com, and you will be watching this in Jesus Journaling, my Facebook group. And today, I am really excited because, the Bible says that we are supposed to seek and search for God with all our heart, and I don't have a verse off the top of my head to demonstrate it, because I have a verse that I'm going to be sharing with you today that is the result of just seeking. So, I'm on lockdown still after 2 months, and it's getting kind of like old. And although I stay home a lot, it's not been, well, I can't say it's not been fun. It's my life to stay home for years and years and years. But to not be able to go out if I wanted to go to a coffee shop. And the bummer was that I went to McDonald's and I was going to get a mocha the other day, and the machine was broken. And I won't drink coffee just like that. It's like a treat to have a mocha with a little more chocolate or something. Well, I found the most interesting story in the middle of the genealogies on Esau in Genesis. So I'm kind of skimming through because I don't like to skip over the genealogies because God has them there for a reason, but it's kind of boring, It's just not something that interests me. There are people who love to read all these things, and that's one of the reasons God has it there. But you know what? You never jump over the genealogies, because I have found the most interesting thing. And I found a verse I'd never noticed before, even though I've read the Bible many times. So I'm going to tell you about it today. And it's from Genesis 36, the genealogy about Esau. And it's listing off Esau's descendants. And it says in verse 24, Genesis 36:24, it says, "These are the sons of Anah." Anah is a guy I never heard of before, or never noticed before, "who found the hot springs in the wilderness as he pastured the donkeys of Zibeon his father." That's Genesis 36:24. And I want you to come along and draw with me. And this is, well, I got that upside down. Sorry. Now I got it on the wrong side. Okay, there's my picture of a donkey. Pretty bad, huh? It almost looks like a wolf. But that's not the point. The point is not how well we draw. And it's from this Bible. I love this Bible because it has like a soft cover. And not too many of the journaling Bibles have that. They often have hard covers. And I think there's more than there were. And then I will be using my Arteza 72 watercolor pencils, and I'm going to be trying those out. I don't use them that often, so you never know. I am not an artist, so you can see that by my picture of the donkey. I'll be flipping the screen down in a minute, and so I can't teach you how to draw, and I'll show you how I think I can show you, yeah. This is what I did. If you can see that, I go to Pinterest, my Pinterest account, and then what I do is I typed in donkey drawings, and I found some things that aren't even donkeys. And now if I spend more time, I probably can go back and learn how to draw a donkey better, but I have a lot of other things I have to do today, which is probably what you have to do too. You probably have a lot to do, and taking a little time to journal each day during this time when we are stuck at home. Some of us are still stuck at home, but we're moving out of that time. But you want to take some of the things that you've been learning during this stuck at home time with you. And one thing that Bible journaling does, it helps you relax, and to relax into the presence of Jesus. Because I was like, what is this with, what's his name, Anah, and what is it about the hot springs, and what is it about the wilderness, and how does this apply to my life? So this is what I found, because I looked it up and I found different things that were written, and I kind of got this from this guy. This chapter recounts well, for one thing, a wilderness is like a desert. And I'm kind of in a desert situation right now because I haven't seen my friends for 2 months, my local friends. And I only Zoomed with my brother and sister-in-law once. I see my husband and that's it. And then if I go to the store, I see people who really don't want to talk with me. They are scared of me and of each other in case one of us has the virus. Now they're finding out something I knew all along, that you have to get out and get exposed to germs to build up your immunity. And they found that some of the people in my state got it who were quarantined and never went out and stayed at home. So, there's some advantages and disadvantages. And I don't know what your opinion is on that because I get so confused because there's different things out there. But this situation of a wilderness that I'm going through and that you might be going through that can be applied to other situations in our lives are of wilderness experiences where we're like Anah and his donkeys. He was probably maybe a teenager, a young man, or even like a boy, because they had in their farming and like communities that they had back then, responsibilities that were greater were given to children, older children and young people more than they are today. And so his father, what's his name? Zibeon or something like that. Zibeon sent him out with these donkeys, and he had like a herd of donkeys. And that kind of interests me because usually they're watching sheep. But Anah watched his donkeys. So here he is in the wilderness. Maybe he was like, oh, Dad, I don't want to do this. And ended up being stuck out here in the desert alone with his donkeys. And we don't know. And so, first of all, the interesting thing is when I looked up Anah uncertain times, and you might be doing uncertain things, and maybe you are homeschooling your children or overlooking their Zoom or online education. And if I know about kids, my kids were homeschooled for 25 years and more, and some of them did some online schooling as well in their high school years, and one of them fooled around and would flip up on the computer. His computer was so we could all see it. And so I came into the room and he would minus it as he heard me coming. I probably was too noisy. And he ended up getting caught because his scores on his tests dropped. But he was popping up soccer scores. So it wasn't anything bad, but you might have to have different things happening like that in your lives, things that I was used to, but you may not be, and may not be used to having your kids home all day. So we are living in uncertain times, and you may be uncertain about what you're doing because it's new to you. So Anah means uncertain, and I just thought that was really interesting. And the entire Bible only mentions Anah one time. So if you skim over this genealogy, you're going to miss this one verse that revealed to my heart so much that encouraged me. Yes. So Anah received an unexpected blessing in the middle of this boring task of watching these donkeys. And if you know anything about donkeys, I think they're kind of dumb, kind of like sheep, right? So you could like identify with the donkey, because even in the story about the donkey that doing an uncertain task, something that is out of the box, different for us, and it's experience that we have experiences like this in our lives. And often we're doing the mundane, and the mundane is something that I love that word. It has like really interested me for like a long time. So you may be uncertain. You may be doing the mundane, and you might find something that's a blessing in the mundane. And yet in the desert experiences we have, you can find an unexpected blessing, and you might feel very alone, and you might feel very uncomfortable in what you're doing, and weary and tired. Maybe you're tired because your children are wearing you out. I can identify with that. And but God can give you warm springs are a warm spring oasis in the middle of your desert experience. And it can soothe and rest your tired bones for your soul, of your soul. And Anah is an example of that desert and what God can do to you through that desert. And he would never have found that special blessing if he hadn't been sent to the desert and found that oasis. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to stop this video and then do a recording of my drawing separate from this. So you saw my drawing. I'll show you again. And then I'm going to have this video in 2 parts, so that would not make it too long. So just wait a minute. I'll be right back.